Okay, welcome to the 12th edition of the Astute Engineer. I've said this many times, but this one is actually very different. I've been looking forward to this for some time. Stephen Black, Steve, you've got such a great story to tell. Some of them we can't air on this podcast, okay? From the Royal Irish Engineers, working in industry for two of the biggest European defence primes. Some of the stories will need to be edited, right? So let's just put that straight out there. But you've known Astute and you've known the team from your work with some of the charities. And I know you're doing a lot of work with the Vets charity at the moment. We'll touch on that a bit later for sure. But what sparked my interest, which was over a few beers and a tequila, was some of the conversations about how your journey started, and how you've kind of taken all of the learning from 21 and a half years. So let's go all the way back. I want to go back a few points because we're fortunate enough that you was actually part of the Royal School of Military Engineers.
That's right.
What does that actually mean to the real world?
So it's going to take you straight out of Sandhurst when they've
Yep.
given you your leadership foundation, and then it's going to put all of the technical acumen that you need in order to lead with even more credibility. So they're going to put in an awful lot of combat engineering, an awful lot of military engineering. There is a distinct difference between the two.
Which means, what's the difference?
So
What's the big
combat
highlight?
engineering, quite succinctly, is your ability to delay your enemy from moving, increase your ability to move, and then also deliver survivability. So we talk about it in mobility, counter mobility, and survivability. That's combat engineering. But then in terms of military engineering, it is almost like what lives behind that in order to make that happen. So it would be an awful lot about military bridging for the mobility aspect. There would be a bit in there about water purification for the survivability, hardened shelters. Then obviously your basic level demolitions, which you can go on and take further if you go into explosive ordnance disposal, as I did.
Right. Okay. So that's nothing like what I thought it was going to be. But even more interesting actually, because when you use the term engineering, that can be in so many different contexts. And we're from an electronic background, and our engineers are very much about that technical design. But you're almost designing for survival, but also, if I'm right in thinking, you're building a program to first of all mobilize, sustain, and then recover and come back.
Yes, while also countering the enemy from doing the same.
Right.
Yeah, being in the Royal Engineers is such a privilege because you are with some of the smartest soldiers in the battlefield. Some of them have got a trade, and the majority of them have a trade actually. So you're a tradesman. That's the first hat they'll put on. So they'll be qualified plumbers, carpenters, plant engineers. They all have a trade that is relatable to engineering. The second thing then they are is obviously a soldier.
Yep.
Because they would be. And then the third thing they are is a combat engineer. So the privilege that I had was leading sappers, that's what we call them, sappers, that would have 4 GCSEs, 5 GCSEs, more. They have the ability to go on and do a foundation degree.
Okay.
If they choose to, there is loads of options for them. And then again, outside of all of that standard kind of engineering, you have officers and senior NCOs that go on and do a master's in engineering, and we call them PQEs, or professionally qualified engineers. And they design structures, they design fuel depots, they design electronic systems for an entire airport, and that happened in Kabul. In 2001, it was a Royal Engineer who turned the lights on at the airport.
Really?
When the first entry forces went on all the way back then. Incredibly clever people and an absolute privilege to lead.
Yeah, and you just talk about some of the people that crossed your path, hence some of the stories we can't tell. But for you, coming from Northern Ireland, you've got lots of challenges on the streets in Ulster. Taking what you're learning there into the military into the engineering. You then went off and done your leadership, your MBA. That was at Cranfield, yeah?
Yeah.
So you've always invested in yourself. You're always trying to learn. And I guess from 21 years in the forces, you've seen people fight with challenges, not just personal challenges, but actually challenges to move forward. And in an engineering perspective, what you've just described to me, I'd never even considered would come into that engineering capacity. You've actually crossed so many different domains in your pathway as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I started off as a Royal Engineer doing that sort of stuff, and then you are given a chance to specialize. I decided to specialize and spent around 16 of the 21 years in that specialism, both leading and managing in that specialism, and thoroughly enjoyed it.
Explain your specialism.
So my rubbish joke is that nobody from Belfast ever failed the bomb disposal course. So I spent 16 years, and I need to be very careful here in just making sure that I don't make myself out to be any more than I actually was, leading those who did the bomb disposal and high risk, high assurance search. You get qualified in that way. But I have to be totally open and honest and say that my job was to lead those who were much more talented than I was in kind of disposing of extremely dangerous stuff.
Yeah, I think you're doing injustice to yourself, but you're a humble guy, and I get where you're going with that. But you put yourself in a position to be able to lead people, and as we've talked about before, leadership is also about how you hold yourself, how you behave. You earned that right to lead that team, and you've seen some horror stories, but you've also had some of the most amazing challenges that you've overcome. Not just because you come up from an Irish lad going into a bomb disposal unit. You must have got a lot of stick.
Yeah, I think there was 20 people on the course and only 8 of us passed, and I think that's where the jokes really started to kick in.
Yeah. Okay, so you spent a bit of time out in theatre, engineering background, and understanding that you've got to look at the whole terrain with a different set of lens. What did you find from that military learning and actually being in situ? Did it cross over, or did you have to adapt immediately? I mean, how?
A bit of both. So they give you that foundational aspect that we covered there briefly, and then obviously the course really delivers an awful amount of credibility. But I would actually go all the way back to Sandhurst, where they teach you how to serve, to lead, and so therefore, yes, you are the one that's up the front, and yes, you are the one who is ultimately responsible, and the decisions are yours. But my goodness, you are so incredibly well supported by the team around you and informed by the team around you. And that's certainly the case then, I think, when you get to bomb disposal, high risk, high assurance search. So I was trained in that pyramid of capability. I was definitely entry level in that pyramid. But I had those above me who I could trust, who were more specialized, more deeper in their training, the higher level kind of bomb disposal guys, manual technique, red wire, blue wire kind of guys. And it was a trust. He thought they just need you to give them the ability for them to conduct their trade. And then ultimately, whenever you want to get their advice on what way we should do something, even though you are responsible for the outcome, you then have to trust them that it's going to be okay. And so it was very much a two-way street.
Yeah, I mean, again, underplaying things, the red and blue wire. I mean, you're talking about high intense activities under a hell of a lot of stress. You've been well trained to control that, but you must have faced situations where everything was out of control. And do you just take a deep breath and just go back to your learning, or you adapting to the situation at the spur of the moment?
Oh, you're very much adapting to the situation at the spur of the moment. But it's one of those, and forgive me because this is such a cliche, but it's really about the team. And it's about the team working together in order to make it okay. But your job is ultimately in order to create the team, put that ethos in it, but also give them, and this is super important, give them the protective wrap
Yeah.
in order for them to get on and do what it is that they do. And I think that's the cross trust that I'm so badly explaining here. They trust you to give them the environment to operate, and you trust them to operate appropriately within it.
Yeah, and I again, you're underplaying it because, yeah, being a leader is also allowing people the opportunity and the space to make mistakes, and empowering them to make those decisions. But you're in a situation there, you're in theatre, you've got a critical decision to make, and that trust element, you're trusting with people's lives, aren't you?
Yeah, very much so. But I think that really speaks to the quality of the training and the
Right.
system and how you are, or how you're brought up within it. This is crazy, the way that I explain this. So when you go through Sandhurst, you have 44 weeks worth of training. If you're going to be an infantryman, you have maybe about an infantry officer, maybe you've got about another 2 months to 3 months on top of that. So ultimately you have somewhere around about 15 to 16 months worth of military training. You then are paired in a platoon that can have up to 30 people in it. And within there, you'll have a platoon sergeant, a colour sergeant or a sergeant, but you'll have an NCO. That NCO would have somewhere between 12 to 15 years worth of experience. And if I said to you, pick the leader, who do you think the leader is? Do you think it's the one with the 15 months, or do you think it's the one with the 15 years?
Yeah.
And ultimately, it's the one with the 15 months. They carry the responsibility, but they do so confidently because of the person standing beside them that has the 15 years.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, but it works.
Yeah, and I get that now as you frame it that way, because you're brought up into an environment where you have to trust that they've had the best grounding and training to make those decisions.
Yeah.
It's interesting. One of the things that I look at in how people manage risk, and throughout your career, you've had to manage risk very differently. But if you try to take your civilian boots on, you've moved into two very large manufacturers of defense equipment. How does that transform the managing of risk, the way you would address it in uniform against civvy world?
So this is super interesting, because in some places it works, in some places it doesn't. So the fundamental leadership aspect that we all are brought up to understand and practice is called mission command. And it means that I'm going to give you your target, that the task that I want you to achieve. I'm going to give you the resources for you to do it. I'm going to give you the time that it needs to be done, but I am not going to tell you how to do it.
Right.
And that is mission command. I'm not going to restrict you in order for you to tell you how to do that task, but I'm absolutely going to enable you in order to do that. And here comes the super interesting bit. It works in some companies if their ethos will let it, and it works in other companies where it doesn't. And I have been in both.
Okay.
My first company absolutely got on with it, and I think pace of life has an awful lot to do with that. And certainly, just to be a little bit more specific, in a sales environment, you would have a target of X amount put on you for an annual order intake. And it's up to you then to go ahead and find that order intake from your area, from your channel, whatever that may be, Lancier. But my job as a boss is in order to give you the funds in order for you to go and chase that order intake and get it in. But I'm not going to tell you how to do it. And that worked really well in my first job. In my second job after I left the army, it did not work well at all. And in one instance, I was actually accused of being as useful as a post box. And the reason why
I have played golf with you, by the way, so I do know that's a statement of fact.
It's an absolute fact. I might as well swing a post box rather than swing anything else. Thanks for that. But yes, it just didn't work because all they saw was me in a swivel chair taking the direction that was given to me and then turning to my team and passing that
Right.
on to my team. I would add a bit of extra value to that. Maybe
Mhm.
think about doing it this way, or maybe think about this, or think about that. But ultimately, I left it up to them in order to achieve that. But yes, to come back to it, mission command, which I think translates really well into a business development environment that's working at pace.
Yeah. And that's why I think if you frame the question, you have to make decisions that sometimes are well informed and you've got time to digest it and make a deliberate decision made of the information in front of you. Other times, bomb disposal, it's instantaneous. In business, I think some people take too long procrastinating sometimes and don't go with that gut feeling. But you still want to have that platform to be able to do that. And I think that's what.
Yeah, yeah. I'm going to go back a little bit, but I think it's worth it. I remember when we were going on the subunit commanders course, and a subunit's around about 140 to 160
Okay.
people that you're going to go and lead. And the Royal Engineers put you on their subunit commanders course, and they always bring a guy in or a girl in who's just finished leading a subunit.
Right.
And this guy walked onto the stage and he said, I'm going to say this, you're probably not going to believe me, but he said, your subunit will take on your identity and become you. They will mimic you. They will mimic your mannerisms. They will mimic your values. They will look at you, they'll study you, and then they will slowly become you. And I sat in the audience and I thought, nah, that's not going to happen. And I led a bomb disposal squadron for 2 years, and they bloody did. And
Really?
they did, yeah, they did. And it's crazy how it happens. And the reason why I went back to tell you that is because I think it's also true when you lead in industry,
Yep.
because they will look at you and what matters to you matters to them. And the way that you like to hold a meeting, if it's in shorts and flip-flops, they'll come in with shorts and flip-flops. If you come in chinos and a pair of smart shoes and a collar and tie, that's what they will do.
Yeah.
So you set the standard and you set the atmosphere, you set the environment. And if you create those conditions, and critical point, they have the training within them, Shipley or whatever that training may happen to be, great things happen.
Yeah, I believe in a lot of that. And yeah, there's some inspirational speakers. I think one of the best ones is about making your bed in the morning. And you
Yes.
guys
Yeah.
obviously stand by that. And it kind of leads me on to one of my other points that, I believe you're absolutely right. You set a standard, you set a tone of voice, but you also set the values. And the values that you stand by, you want your team to stand by. And I guess it's the way they adopt it. But what are the values that you've kept consistent from early squaddy days all the way through to senior business leader? What values stand firm by you today?
So I'll rattle out the ones that would be close to the Army's value, honesty, integrity, courage, all of that kind of stuff is there. It's all absolutely there. I would also say, and again, I'm using an old turn of phrase here, forgive me, but it's all about the blokes. That is certainly true within industry. It's all about your team. So an open, honest approach that is all about the team and all about enabling and putting them first tends to actually get you what you need and what you want. But that has always been something that's been close to my heart. Chasing the order intake targets that are set upon us as business development professionals is one thing, but watching others achieve them and enabling them to achieve them is really satisfying.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Does that? I don't know
It
if I've
does,
done that.
absolutely.
Okay.
And it's very difficult to actually articulate what stands true and firm, but I think what comes across very clear is that the team, empowering people, seeing them succeed, seeing them develop. I love all of that. And, it's nothing more rewarding than seeing somebody else become successful and you may have played a little part in that journey.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm all with you on that. So I guess let's just shift a little bit because you are a people person. Now you're doing something ridiculous because you're running for, some would say fun, but you're doing it for the reasons. So the veterans, talk to me about how you're involved in that veteran.
Yeah, the organization's called the Not Forgotten.
Yep.
They're one of the smaller military charities,
Hmm.
but they have such a powerful punch in what they do. So the Not Forgotten does exactly what it says on the tin. They make an absolute point of going to those veterans that they feel for want of need, or for be that financial, emotional, whatever the reason, that they feel forgotten. And the charity just gets around them. They give them a series of away days. They put on some events, and then of course they've got all of your usual assistance in mental health,
Yeah.
in pointing towards financial aid. But they just ensure that you, as a veteran, are not climbing a mountain. And you
Yep.
would have
Yeah.
you would have
Love
seen
that. Yep.
I've put some stuff out about that, because we all metaphorically
Yeah,
do.
absolutely. Yeah.
And we would feel that we're doing it alone. And veterans, for just sheer stint of their experience and stuff that they may have seen and may have done, would tend to feel an awful lot more forgotten and would spiral faster.
Yep.
And then the not forgotten get in there and make sure that that doesn't occur. So to come back to your point, I'm running my fourth London Marathon, but my second in support of the
Hmm.
Not Forgotten.
That's great. I mean, obviously, we'll support you. You know, Jeff does a lot of work with supporting those charities for the forces. I'm not sure whether I've mentioned to you before, but our Australia team have engaged with. Um, we are now doing a scholarship for Griffith University
Right.
for veterans. So it's the first veteran scholarship back into education, and we're really proud to be doing that.
That is amazing. That's kind of proper, give a fisherman a fishing pole, and they
Absolutely,
can,
yeah,
rather than just giving it that is arming them with skills and with the ability to actually let them take care of themselves.
yeah,
And
and I think
that's brilliant.
it's really important for us to give back. You know, you guys have protected us in all sorts of forms, and everyone knows what's happening in the world at the moment. But I think people, and I love the not forgotten, because you know, there's such a big shift from civilian life to uniform to civilian life, and
Mm.
so yeah, more than happy to support. I'm not going to go running with you, by the way, but I would definitely support you on it.
No, I don't think I could keep up with you, Mark.
Good.
I think it is worth pointing, and this is something close to my heart. So forgive me if I just labor on this just for
Yep.
5 to 10 seconds. Veterans aren't charity cases, and I'm not for one second saying that that's
Hmm.
how you're coming across. So I just, for those that are listening or watching this, I think it's just super important that veterans just need a chance.
Oh yeah.
And that's all they're after, is just just give them a chance. And what you've just said, and the way that Astute is approaching it, is exactly what they need. They just want a chance, and they will be able to take it from there.
And I think that's what really I got so encouraged about this scholarship. And Pado, I did an interview with him when I was down in Australia last year. Like you, like a really, really inspirational guy, and thinks about his people first. Experienced multiple good, bad, indifferent challenges in the forces. He was actually Air Force, but what he wants to do is to give a platform for a veteran to say, "Here's a second chance. You know, you've now got an opportunity to re-educate, and that may be that you've got somebody who's joined the forces at 16 because they didn't have the chance for education, but then found their way, and now they want that education to take the next steps forward. Or it may be somebody who's just decided, I actually want to learn about AI, or I want to learn about a new program, and it's given them the opportunity. So I'm really fully behind it. I hope it becomes successful, and you know, some of the bigger charities consume quite a bit of time and airspace. This is great that you're using your time for a smaller one.
No, great charity, and if people out there can get behind them, they do great things.
Yeah, I think so. And I touched on AI briefly there, and yeah, I think where the actual theatre's changed in war, that's for sure. But
Mm.
and AI will have a place to play rightly or wrongly, but as you've transitioned into the business world, what's your view on AI? How are you adopting AI?
So the company that I work for, Inspire, has taken AI right into its heart, actually, and we have an internal dedicated AI engine designed in house,
Okay.
and that spans a number of different outputs, from assisting with bid management, bid building, all the way through to market research. Really, so the company is absolutely grasping a hold of AI writ large. I think AI into the defense industry has absolutely opened up the ability for us to iterate at a pace that is competitive
Yep.
in what is now a hyper competitive marketplace. It's always really been about that kind of cat and mouse kind of game with ourselves and our adversary. And I think AI is a fantastic tool now in our arsenal in order to iterate at speed. We are learning as we're going, though. I get that. I'm not an AI expert, so I need to watch how far I go on this. I'll get out of my comfort zone, but I feel that we're learning as we're going, and as long as we keep to our moral boundaries in that way as we're exploring through AI, I think that's our kind of North Star that we kind of need to keep an eye on.
Yeah, no, I think you got to embrace it. It's here. It adds so much benefit. It's just how you adopt it and where you adopt it. But it will change the battlefield as well, won't it? I mean, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. Fundamentally, we were always at pace, regardless of who our adversary was, whether that was a state actor, non-state actor. It didn't really matter. It was always really about. I think this is a really good soundbite, actually, that people say that war is a competition of engineering, and AI is now just made that a hyper competition of engineering. It really will accelerate the pace that they will dictate the pace that we need to accelerate to, is what I'm trying to say. It's just how fast that we can come to that realization that AI is here to stay, can be used in our favor, but if we've got it, so do they.
Yeah, absolutely. And everything you put out there in AI is open for other people to interpret as well. So unless you create your own LLM,
In case we were just talking about that last week.
Original. Okay. So try to take you back. If you was giving some advice, young lad from Ireland, what stands true still today?
What a question. It's going to be okay. Do it, lean into it, trust the process.
Stop there for a moment. So do it, lean into it.
Yeah.
And trust the process.
Yeah.
So you're a young lad coming out of Northern Ireland. You must have had to take a big step.
Yeah, no, I did. Yeah. There's a whole lot to unpack in there. But the short answer is yes. Yeah. I feel it today more than ever. Whether I'm trying not to go deep on this one, whether that is driven by social media or your social circle, but your ability to fail and be seen to fail in front of a peer group or whatever, the attitude and the appetite for that today is nowhere near as it was when you and I. If you and I done something wrong back in the day, it was never really caught on camera and put on Facebook and circulated around millions of people within seconds, minutes.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's why I've deliberately said, lean into it, trust the process, commit, be ready when you do it. You can't come unprepared, but absolutely lean into the armed forces writ large, because they'll be able to do the rest. The process works, and the process has been working for decades, generations. It works. It's back to that senior NCO teaching that junior officer kind of thing. The process works. So lean into it, commit, give yourself over to it, give it 100%. Don't be afraid to fail.
Yeah, it's so important, and you touch on something that's even more important today. So that's why I said carry on with it, because as a youngster, that fear factor, the fear of failure, it's not the imposter syndrome, which lots of people still have. This is the fear of failure is more about where is it going to get distributed?
Yes.
fear of failure, like you say, back in our day would have been a handful of people knowing you failed.
Mm-hmm.
Now it can be hundreds of thousands, millions of people in nanoseconds.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that the young generation, they need to believe that they can fail. They need to believe that they can take that step, and it may be hitting a bump along the way, but get on the road.
Mm-hmm.
But even back to today, modern Steve, experience everything you had. Some things keep sounding true, that the values that you've got. So if you was to say there was a non-negotiable in your working team, what do you say no to?
What do I say no to?
What will you not tolerate as a team?
Yeah, okay. Lack of integrity.
Integrity.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. If I don't have that, I don't have my honesty, and if I don't have my honesty, then we've got nothing,
You've
because
got
you're starting to erode that trust base,
foundation of trust.
and
Right.
that's back to that mission command and how we're operating. Because if I'm going to cut you loose, and I need to cut you loose because I'm busy enough, then I need to trust you. I need to trust that you're going to go to Australia for the right reasons. I need to trust that you're going to go and see that really high, important executive and say the right things and
Not
present
playing golf.
no, not playing golf, and present the company in the way that
Yeah.
you're supposed. So yeah, if I don't have the integrity and the honesty, then it's not good.
Yeah, no, it's a really good point. Yeah, I mean, you can earn the trust, you can lose it just as quick, can't you? So
Yes, it is hard. It's harder to earn and easier to lose, which, funny enough, is in an adage in the military as
is it
well.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, your first, I say tip that you would know it as a rank. So your first rank is a lance corporal. And it is the hardest rank to earn. I mean, you really have to go through blood, sweat, and tears to
Yeah.
get it, but it is also the easiest to
Right.
lose. So that works the same for trust.
So who throughout your career, and there may be too many people for you to narrow it down, but is there one person who sticks out who's actually had a major impact on your life pathway change? Who's your inspiration?
Oh, there are so many. You're really putting me on the spot now. There are so many good ones out there that have shaped me on the way up. You want me to name one? I would probably go straight to, and if he's listening now, he may not be, is a guy called General John Swift.
Okay.
Who was my boss when we were in Northern Ireland. I spent 2 years in Northern Ireland on a counter-terrorist operation, and he was the commander of 38 Irish Brigade. I was his operations major, and he taught me so much just by his leadership style. A great guy. He's somebody that I remember fondly working with.
Right. Okay. That's good. I mean, there's always somebody who stands out, isn't there? And I'm sure lots of people have shaped and influenced you. But I normally ask a book that's an inspirational book. I've read plenty of different books that have helped shape me. Is there any books that jump out?
2. I didn't see that one coming, but I'm actually surprised with myself and how I've thought of them instantly. So 2, the first one's called The 13th Valley, which is about an American army in Vietnam and just slogging it through for 12 months. And it's about the mental resilience that you need in order to get up, put your socks and your boots on and stay at it. So The 13th Valley is very good. And the other one, strangely enough, is still also in Vietnam, and it's called Chicken Hawk.
Right.
And Chicken Hawk is about a helicopter pilot.
Okay.
My biggest takeaway from that book is committing to the team, and it's not really about you. It's about the blokes. And in Chicken Hawk, they fly again consistently, time and time again, in and out of danger zones, and it speaks to the mental resilience that you need in order to do that. But it also speaks to the sacrifice that other people will do in order to in order to kind of better for the betterment of the team.
Well, that's a great way to finish it, because everything you said is all about other people in the team. That the work you've done, we're all thankful for what you've put yourself through, because whether you're an Irishman doing bomb disposal or any other nation, you're putting yourself at risk, and you've kept a team together. Thankfully, you've kept yourself together. And what you're now doing with the veterans is amazing. So, yeah, I will support you, but I'm definitely not running alongside you. I've actually got someone in my team that could do the running alongside you. Maybe I'll push him out there. But, yeah, an absolute pleasure. And, yeah, thanks for your service.
No, Tom, I really appreciate this opportunity. It's been great. I've been looking forward to this.
Yeah.
So thank you.
No, it's been really good. It's really good. Now, thanks for listening. If you've got any feedback, any ideas, don't be afraid to ask. I think safe to say that Steve's got some stories that we'd all like to hear. But yeah, thanks for your time.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
Thanks, mate.